It's no secret that Donald Trump is now set to be sworn in on January 20th as the 45th president of the United States of America after being elected overwhelmingly, of course, according to the college votes, electoral college votes. And we've heard from Hillary Clinton, who's given her concessional speech, and also Barack Obama. Now they're moving into the transitional period and accepting and moving on. But I'm not sure if the gentlemen in studio have accepted and moved on with what they've heard. In fact, Macharia Gaitho, an independent journalist and has covered the United States elections before, and Victor Rateng, a person who has been in the industry of polling, they have shared their views on this online. And in fact, you said this 15 hours ago, I should probably start getting ready to eat a big piece of humble pie. Have you had enough?
I'm still eating it because I had predicted in my column in the Daily Nation yesterday that it would be a walkover for Hillary on the Electoral College vote. It went the other way.
Yes. And you weren't the only one. In fact, it was even on the Standard.
Oh yes,
seemingly,
they had these things happen, and you make projections which maybe sometimes are based more on hope than reality, and they do go wrong.
And Rateng, you said in your latest tweet, this is what it means, kuonyeshwa maneno.
Yes, I've heard Kenyans say this over time, and I thought maybe this is what they normally mean. You see, everyone expected that Hillary was going to win. As a pollster, when the polls started showing that it was going to be tight, I had to start making adjustments personally because I know these numbers are real. So,
so did the pollsters actually mislead people?
No, they told us the truth because I think the past week, a week before the elections, yesterday, we started seeing polls showing that this was going to be a really tight race. And that's what happened, because if you look at the popular vote, Hillary actually has
59.4 million.
Yes, which is slightly ahead of Trump. So that shows that most Kenyans looking at the polls, they were following the polls, because you wouldn't just have this belief without having somebody tell you, this is what is coming up.
I mean, do you buy that? Because this was...
No, the very fact that the outcome was what it was means the pollsters got it wrong.
Yes.
I mean, there's no other explanation for that. And I think the pollsters and even the media has a big reality check. But if you look at the logic of it all, I did my piece based not just on the popular vote, but on analyzing state by state. And very many of them were very close and could go either way.
Right.
But because of various reasons, and my own understanding of American politics, particularly the campaign, and also what I thought would be the Obama effect, he campaigned very, very aggressively for her in the last 2 weeks. I thought that would tilt the balance if he could get his own constituency solidly behind her. Right. Obviously, it did not work.
Okay. Would you say then the predictions were more on the popular vote, which is now, because it sounds like a revised
that's a
version.
fact. It's actually factual to say that the polls that we were seeing were based on the popular vote.
Yeah, based on the popular vote.
Because the electoral vote depends on the popular vote. Yeah, state by state.
State by state.
Yeah. So, but I think what we have to say, which is the right thing, is that several things determine the outcome of an election, okay? So at the beginning, we have the voter registration. And then within the voter registration population, how many people actually turn out to vote for particular candidates? And then we also had 2 other candidates who we are not sure whose support they got, because these guys also got votes. Yes. The Green Party and the Libertarian Party, they had candidates. And they had people who actually voted for them. So also the undecided factor. You see, we several days before the vote, the polls show that the undecided was actually high, and then it started going down. So we are not so sure who the undecided voted for.
Well, those the undecided and those 11,000
yeah, so
who
those
voted
are the things that, as pollsters, in fact, there should be a caveat from pollsters that even as you look at these numbers, these things might not actually happen the way we are seeing them.
You're talking about the numbers, and I'll get to the media's part that it played in all this. But we spoke earlier, our team spoke earlier to Angela Mbitho, CEO of Infotrack, on whether there was a disconnect between the pollsters and what they were predicting and what became of it.
There are those people who, perhaps when the polls were being conducted, because he had been vilified by the media, he had been vilified by his own party. Generally, he had been vilified by everybody as a ridiculous person, a racist, a misogynist, someone who was generally disturbing the status quo and very negative in his campaigns. Because of that, the likelihood that when people were asked whether they would vote for someone like that, they would say no. But in their heart of hearts, that person spoke to them. This is what they represent. This is who they are. And I think the long and short of it is these are things that are lessons for us to learn as scientists, as pollsters, that there are things like the closet effect, where one person may tell you one thing because they think it's the right answer and it's what people want to hear, but on election day or on whatever it is that they intend to do, they do a totally different thing. The undecided vote that was sometimes felt to be swaying towards one side or another was probably not very well gauged. But in the end, those people who are deemed to be undecided and would be deciding to vote with reason actually voted perhaps more with emotion, because the election is an emotional thing. And then the second one is turnout. We see that in the states where Hillary Clinton had been projected to win, there was subdued turnout for those demographics that were meant to vote for her: women and the minorities, the blacks, the Hispanics. In Florida, the Hispanics didn't come out in the large numbers that they were expected to come out. Neither did the Black Americans come out African Americans come out in the large numbers that they were expected to come out, or that they did come out when Obama was there. And when they were doing their trend analysis and tracking, normally you look at historical data. So you say if the Democratic, party followers did this for Obama, the likelihood that they would do the same for Clinton would be, almost a given.
As InfoTrack CEO Angela Ambitho, and just as we get reactions from what she said, Macharia, bringing it to a local context and reality, some people said, the closet effect is even felt here, where you vilify people, for instance, Sonko, and you say, no, we can't vote for him, or you talk trash about him. But when it comes to the polls, when you're taking votes, you actually vote him in overwhelmingly.
Yes. That does happen, but it is no excuse. I think I'm seeing a lot of now spin doctoring from the pollsters and maybe also from the media, because the fact is that the pollsters should be able to make certain predictions, including doing polls where they're also factoring in the likely turnout.
Right.
The second thing is, and that is something also I have noticed in polls in Kenya, even the ones we've done, we used to do here at Nation when I was here, that sometimes they get the sampling wrong. Now we're talking about the angry white American man, mostly rural. Maybe American pollsters tend to concentrate on the big cities as representatives of that state,
like you say Nairobi,
and ignore the rural vote.
Yes.
And I've seen that happening here in Kenya when we do some polls, and the numbers don't seem to add up, and we have to call the polls and say, what is happening here? And we go through the sampling, and we have to tell them, no, this is wrong.
Right. You've been in a receiving end of inconsistencies with your
Well, I have to say this first of all. I have worked for two research organizations, InfoTrack, and InfoTrack accurately predicted the referendum outcome in 2010. I have worked for Ipsos. Ipsos has accurately predicted the outcome of two US elections, Obama in 2008 and 2012. In France, the most recent election was accurately predicted by Ipsos. So there are times when pollsters get it accurately.
Certainly.
But there are times when things really don't turn out the way we are probably telling you these things are going to be. But first, the other thing which I have to mention is this. A pre-election poll is not a prediction. A prediction is an exit poll, like the one conducted by James Sloan in 2013, which showed that 12% of the respondents did not want to mention who they were going to vote for.
Right.
So they undecided, and probably this is because they are in a particular area where they feel like if they feel shy. We like to call them the shy respondents, because they don't feel like what they're going to tell you is popular. So those are some of the factors that undermine the accuracy of an opinion poll. The shy respondent, the voter turnout, and other factors to do with what actually happened. Remember, just days before the election, we had a percentage that was undecided. And then what did the FBI do? They come out to say, we are now going to start investigations into this matter afresh. I don't know how much impact there was. I can only hypothesize that it probably swayed some of the undecided to even vote for Trump.
Because it came
and
weak.
then 2 days or a day before the election, they say, no, we are not even going, there's nothing to show for it.
Right.
I don't know how strategic this was, but I have to take, I mean, it's something that somebody should...
But what do you think was a winning combination in retrospect right now?
Yeah.
People say it was anti-establishment. They just wanted change, someone who spoke boldly of what they wanted to hear about America.
Trump appealed to what you might call the primal fears of white Americans.
Yeah.
One, they feel they've been swamped by people of color, let me put it this way. People of different religions, people of different cultures.
Immigrants and all that.
They have fears about security.
And their jobs.
And their jobs. I think a lot of middle America, what you call the industrial heartland, is gone because the jobs have all gone and the factories have closed down. People are, they react to these things.
Yes.
And Trump promised to do something about it, which Hillary did not really latch onto.
But someone would say, I mean, Hillary knows the diplomatic language and she's playing safe. Trump is not a politician, hasn't been, so he was, shooting right from the hip. Do you think whatever he said during the campaigns will really come into reality?
A lot of it will be campaign rhetoric.
Of course.
Yes.
Because if it comes, for instance, to manufacturing, you can't compete in terms of low-cost manufacturing. The U.S. will not compete with China or Mexico or these other guys who have low labor costs and all that.
Yeah.
Don't forget that even in 2008, Obama campaigned on a platform of protectionism, and he was also against the free trade pacts. But the moment he was in office, some realities set in.
Realities are set.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that you cannot be an island in this globalized world.
So you still stand by the post?
And I think
I
even
still stand by the
Trump will
polls.
realize that.
Yes,
that you may say things very, very strong and to lock in a certain vote, but once you're in office,
But you still stand by
I
the numbers?
still stand by
in
the polls
conclusion.
because it was 59 million for Hillary and 59 million for Trump.
Very
so
close.
That's within the margin of error. Most of those polls, while we
I would say
had 3 points
I would
plus
say,
minus.
Hiyo ni kizungu mingi.
No, Macharia.
What citizens know is that the pollsters told them that Hillary is going to win. She did not win.
And the media to some
and even
extent.
us, and even us, even the media. When we now start trying to give explanations, we can't say we were right. Let's just admit it, we were wrong. Simple.
All right, and let's admit.
But what we have to say is that the polls show that it was too close to call, and they say
Well, in some cases, it gave a big margin.
Yeah, but the result cannot be disputed.
Yes.
What I have to agree
and that's
with
where,
is the
and that's
fact
where
And that's what
Trump
matters.
in his campaigns spoke the language of the common mwananchi, which is where I think he beat
the winning
Hillary.
combination.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, we'll end it here.